Hello and welcome to Rise Unwind. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week I try to talk to people from across the country about things we could do right here in your neighborhood. And on this week's show, we got this.
I still want to go to the casino. I want to be with my friends. We'll go fishing.
Great. That's what we need. An army of pythons heading our way. Thank you for that, Amy.
Yay.
All of that and more right here on Rise and Unwind. These days, it feels like parents are doing more than ever, helping with homework, handling logistics, and shielding kids from every little bit of stress. But is all that actually helping or hurting, or making their ability to bounce back a little more difficult? Joining us this morning is Gigi Schweikert, a parenting and education expert, CEO of Lightbridge Academy. She's here to talk about why some kids may be struggling with setbacks and what parents can do to raise stronger, more independent problem solvers. So let's talk to her about it. Welcome to the show, Gigi. How are you?
Good, Dan. Thank you so much.
I feel sorry. I was going to say, I feel like it's not just the kids that are dealing with a little bit of issues with resilience, even adults such as myself. Are kids really becoming less resilient, or are we just noticing it a little more?
Well, you know, I am going to say that there's no such thing as a parenting expert. Parenting is the hardest thing you'll ever do. So I'll share my experience with you, but the expertise there, we will see. I do unfortunately believe that children are less resilient. And you really defined it in your intro, what resilience is in the most simplistic form. And that is, how do you bounce back when things don't go your way? How do you bounce back as adults when relationships don't go your way, when work's not going your way, when traffic is holding you up, when you're on the phone forever with the insurance company, whatever it might be, that's what we're talking about. And so post-pandemic, we're seeing that children are a bit less resilient than they have been previously. And this is an especially important because the foundation that we lay for young children in these early years, it's what's going to carry them further on when they're in college and when they have jobs, to be able to have this ability to be flexible, to be adaptable, and to develop some thick skin.
All right, I kind of feel like I'm always on the struggle bus. Like I'm the bus driver going, choo-choo, here we go. We're on the struggle bus, ready to go. Is there like a proven way or maybe a mindset shift that like can help raise kids to become maybe a little more independent?
So I think the struggle bus is great. I love that. I'm probably going to use that because I think I'm on the struggle bus every day. And so we look at it like that. What we really need to do are three things, and they're conceptual, but somewhat specific. So the first one is develop a relationship with your child that is a relationship of trust, a relationship of dependability, one where your child feels they can come to you no matter what their issues are, whether they're 2 or 20, and you're going to help them deal with those issues, even if they're consequences. The second one is recognizing that children are more independent than we think they are. And we often do more for them because we're rushed, because we can do it easier for them, or because we don't want to experience what we're going to experience if we do let children do it themselves. The last one is recognizing that when you're teaching this skill set of resilience, or really anything else, is there's going to be failure. And in the young years, there's going to be tantrums and children who are not cooperative. And so teaching resiliency in and of itself is difficult to do. And so many parents avoid it.
Okay, so for parents or like caregivers that do feel overwhelmed, what kind of support systems or resources should they be looking for?
So I think the first thing that a parent needs to look to is inside themselves. And so what's really important is for parents to recognize in today's world of social media, where the depiction of the parent in this idealistic form is not attainable. That's not real. Get real with yourself. Give up the guilt, give up the judgment, and recognize that you are doing the best that you can with great intentions. Surround yourself with people who have the same core values as you, who can be non-judgmental, who can be vulnerable. Find some people, whether those are relatives or other people who are a little further along life's journey in parenting children and have a little bit more experience. Look to your places of worship, your community centers, and recognize that studies show that 91% of parents who send their children to nursery school, preschool, childcare, daycare are finding that the development of their children is meaningfully in a positive way impacted. And this means resiliency too.
And that's kind of hard because sometimes you're dealing with your own like imposter syndrome and trying to find ways to build on that. All right. For those that are like watching and want to dig deeper into this a little bit, where can they go for more information?
For more information about resiliency and child development, you can go to lightbridgeacademy.com.
Gigi, thanks for being our conductor for our struggle buses today.
Thank you. I love the struggle bus. That is, seriously, I might have to come back to you for that because that could be like a whole book. I write books.
Oh, good,
I like the struggle
good.
bus.
So at least put me in somewhere in a caption or page 6 saying, got it from this weird guy named Dan. Yeah, there you go.
Dedicated to Dan and the struggle bus. All right, take it easy.
Thanks. If you're a parent of a young athlete, you already know. Summer doesn't mean vacation anymore. It means pretty much packing up the car, tracking down the cleats, and spending your weekends living out of hotel rooms near sports fields. So joining us from New York is Caryn Antonini, a travel expert and mom who's no stranger to this lifestyle. She's on the road nearly 200 days a year, which sounds crazy and also sounds fun, but she also has some real life tips to make youth sports travel a whole lot easier. Caryn, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, youth sports, it's hard for me to say, youth sports used to be more of like a seasonal thing, just a few weekends here, a few weekends there. Now it's kind of like this massive travel commitment. How has that shift impacted how families pretty much spend their summers?
Oh, it's changed so much. I mean, we're no longer, enjoying those leisurely long summer vacations. Instead, we're organizing travel logistics, kids' schedules, work schedules. Yeah, it's full on. We're in it. But the great thing is we get to watch our kids playing sports, doing the things they love, and they're staying active and healthy.
So what advice do you have for like families trying to juggle that hectic summer full of sports travel?
So I would say just stay super organized as much as possible. I'm a planner. I love to prep. As soon as I know our next destination, I dive in and start doing my research, finding local landmarks, what's of interest there, where we're playing, they're playing their games. And once you've got that lay of the land, then you can tackle your accommodations, which are critical. So you want to look for hotels that cater to families and are truly family friendly. It really makes a difference in terms of comfort, convenience, and affordability. So for example, IHG hotels and resorts offer amazing options and perks for families. Some of their brands like Holiday Inn Express, Avid, Garner, Staybridge Suites, they offer a complimentary breakfast, which saves us time and money, and it's great. Families can enjoy things like scrambled eggs, fresh fruit, Greek yogurt, cinnamon rolls. So they also have Staybridge Suites, and they have great outdoor spaces where they have fire pits and grills. So it's really, truly about what's best for your family. Lastly, you're going to start packing, and you're going to want to learn to pack like a pro. You don't need to bring everything. Maybe create a travel checklist for yourself. Click off those items, and then also invest in a really good cooler because that's really going to pay off. You can stock it with some fresh cold water, some fresh fruit, and lunch, you name it.
And so much time is spent like on the court side or on the sidelines. Do you have any ways to like keep kids or maybe even some of the parents entertained during all of that downtime?
Absolutely. So I like to bring, for kids, I love to bring some compact fun, maybe a deck of cards, Uno, Mad Libs. They can certainly play with the other kids who are maybe tagging along, and keep them, maybe coloring books, keep them active off their devices, which is so important. You can also look for properties with a pool or some of those outdoor spaces that I mentioned. So yes, you can get the parents having some fun too. They have the grills and the fire pits at Staybridge Suites and Candlewood Suites. And I love having other team members and their families come and join us. It keeps everyone happy, active, because you're really becoming like a one big happy family on the road.
And you've been doing this for a very long time. What are some of your go-to items that you tend to pack or for those long days or tournaments?
So I always reach for my tech travel bag because that's where we keep our chargers, our phone chargers, our adapters, cable cords, and that's critical because we can't live without those things these days. I also pack our stocked mini health kit. So I have things in there like Band-Aids, vitamins, seasonal allergy meds, Neosporin, you name it. It's just saved me so much time and in more ways than one, having to run out and everyone's tired. It's great to have all that right there. I also like to keep a stash of healthy snacks like energy bars, some fruit, and essential groceries. It's great if you can plan ahead in terms of that, because if you have to make another pit stop just for food, you're going to run into a mini mart and it gets costly. It really adds up. And kids are always hungry.
And for anyone planning out their summer travel now, where can they go for more information?
So you can go to ihg.com/youthsports and you'll find all their amazing options and family-friendly hotels. And while you're there, check out IHG One Rewards, their loyalty program, because every time you stay, you can use those loyalty points towards your next visit, which is amazing.
Thank you, Caryn, for joining me this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
Most of us walk into buildings every day, our homes, schools, offices, without really thinking twice about how safe they are. But from the roof to the foundation, the plumbing to the wiring, someone's making sure that it's all up to code. So who's looking out for the safety of the places that we live, work, and play? Let's find out.
Building Safety Month is celebrated each May. This year marks its 45th anniversary. The 2025 theme, Game On, shows us building safety is a team sport. John Belsick, CEO of the International Code Council.
We all want to feel safe in the buildings we use every day. But many people may not realize that behind every wall, wire, and beam are building codes that specify how all the components of a building should be constructed to create safe and resilient buildings that protect us at work, at home, at school, and at play.
The International Code Council is a not-for-profit membership organization and a steward of the building code development process. New builds or renovations using international codes or I-codes are better equipped to withstand hazardous conditions, help ensure accessibility for everyone, and help save energy.
The work of the local building department is important. Consider a rewarding career in building safety. We encourage you to get involved and be part of the team.
Visit buildingsafetymonth.org to learn more.
Pediatric brain tumors are rare, but for families facing them, every day is a fight. So today we're joined by Liz Dominguez, whose 8-year-old son Gus was diagnosed with PLGG, and Dr. Matthew Cascio, a pediatric oncologist, helping to guide his care. They're here to talk about how treatment is changing and what families need to know. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So what exactly is PLGG and how does it typically affect children?
Yes, PLGG it's an acronym for pediatric low-grade glioma. It's a type of brain tumor. It is the most common brain tumor in children. Roughly about 1,700 children are diagnosed with a low-grade glioma every year. And it can present in children in a myriad of ways. Really depends on the tumor size and location in the brain. Symptoms could be, changes in the child's balance, him or her developing weakness, seizures, headaches, vomiting, vision changes, some very mild symptoms, but others could be very life-threatening.
And can you walk us through some of the new treatment options that are available now?
Mm-hmm. Yes, historically, we've treated low-grade gliomas with surgery, radiation, and traditional chemotherapies. Now, more innovative, targeted treatments are being used. These treatments address identifiable genetic changes that occur in the cells of these tumors. One such gene that has these changes that occur is called BRAF or BRAF. And this is one of the most common genetic changes that occurs in these tumors. upwards to 3 out of 4 children with low-grade gliomas will have this type of genetic change in their tumors.
So are there side effects that families should be aware of?
Yes. So there's, for the different types of targeted therapies, there are different side effects. Ojemda is a drug that specifically targets genetic changes in the BRAF gene, and some common side effects could be skin rash or less common, some liver problems. There are rare side effects in a clinical trial that was run with Ojemda, which was the largest clinical trial run on children with pediatric low-grade glioma, which led to the FDA approval of Ojemda being used in children with these tumors. Roughly about 7% of children had some bleeding in the tumor or had identifiable linear growth decreases for which they had to come off the drug.
So what does this mean for new era patients, such like Gus?
It means that there are more options available. If you're able to remove a tumor based off this location, that can be a very good option. But in many instances, you can't remove the tumor, and other therapies may not work. Now, with targeted treatments like Ojemda, we have the ability to target the tumor in more direct ways, but also provides a good treatment plan that really you can take into consideration children's lifestyles and such. For instance, Ojemda, you only have to take it once a week by mouth, which could be a tablet or a liquid form, which is really something that families and patients can consider.
Liz, can you share us how Gus's diagnosis first came about?
Sure. He was 2 years old at the time, so a toddler. And we noticed that he was having problems walking without assistance. He stopped running. And then one day he just collapsed as he was standing and playing. And that's not normal for any toddler or any child. So we took him to his pediatrician, let them know what was happening. And she said, there's a couple things that it could be, but we definitely need to rule out any neurologic type of issue, which led us to our local hospital where we had an MRI performed. And that's how we found out about Gus's tumor.
So what has this journey been like for you and your family day to day?
It's an emotional roller coaster. So, going from things like changing diapers with gloves because your child's on chemotherapy to trying to figure out what his accommodations should be in school and, can we get additional accommodations for his deficits and his needs? It's a lot. It's a disability that's pretty silent, so nobody can see it on him. So a lot of times you have to endure the stares and people who just don't really know what's happening because it's just not apparent.
And emotionally, how do you cope with something so big, especially as a parent?
Well, we sought therapy, and I recommend that for anybody, especially to do that before you think you need it. We did that a few years into the process, and of course, it was a longer wait to be able to find a qualified mental health professional at that point. So definitely start that journey earlier than we did, and seek it for your child. And if your child has siblings, even extended family, everybody takes a different path on this journey and how it impacts them. So, talking to one another, advocacy, all of those things can help on this emotional journey.
Where can families go to learn more about and find support for this?
Yes, they can go to the website, dayoneBio.com or ojemda.com. And they'll provide families and patients information about low-grade gliomas, but also about the treatment and side effects of Ojemda.
I want to thank you two for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Do you ever feel like Florida is turning into like the next Jurassic Park? With over 500,000 Burmese pythons wiping out native wildlife, one person is fighting back. With a boa by her side and a trailer full of gear, Amy Siwi left her real estate job to become a full-time python hunter, and she's here with her sidekick Hank and some wild towing safety tips. Welcome to the show, Amy. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me today.
Okay, I see you brought Hank.
I did.
All right, let's start there. How does someone go from like real estate planning or real estate to python hunting?
Well, first of all, let me tell you. So Hank is a boa constrictor. He is not one of the invasive pythons that have eaten 98% of the mammals in parts of the Everglades, but he was caught in my friend's backyard. So he was a released pet, which he doesn't belong in the Everglades. But that kind of leads me to the python hunters thing, because, I've always loved snakes since I was a kid. And I was a real estate broker in Indianapolis when I learned about the python problem in Florida. So I took a trip, I went on a hunt, I caught a 9-foot python, and I was like, yes, this is it. This is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. So I moved to Florida and became a full-time python hunter.
All right. Well, you've hauled boats and gear through some pretty tough terrain. Let's get to the basics. Why do tires and wheels matter so much when you're out in the wild?
Listen, when it's 2 a.m. and I'm wrestling a 16-foot python, getting stuck in the mud is not an option. I can't afford to be stranded out there. So I have to make sure that I have the right tires on my truck and my trailer, because it gives me peace of mind. So in those moments, I can be 100% focused on that python.
And you've teamed up with Kinda to promote safer towing. What should people know about before heading out with a trailer this summer?
Yeah, so it's National Trailer Safety Week next week. So I've got 3 tips for you. The first one is always have a pre-departure checklist. Make sure on that you have checking your tire pressure, including on the spare, checking your lights, and securing your cargo, because a couple quick minutes can save a lot of trouble down the line. Secondly, load capacity. Make sure that you know your RV or trailer's limits and do not exceed them. And third, you drive differently when you tow. So make sure that you maintain the proper following distance to give yourself plenty of stopping time.
What would we do if we do find a python in our backyard? What should we be doing from an expert's advice?
Well, so pythons are only in South Florida. So they're like Fort Myers, West Palm Beach, and down. They're moving north. They're following the food, actually. They're because on the East Coast, that's where 98% of the mammals are gone, right? And so they're kind of moving north and west following that food. So eventually they're going to get there. They're not there yet, but I'll have more information when they do reach you.
Great. That's what we need. An army of pythons heading our way. Thank you for that, Amy.
Yay.
Where can we go to learn more, maybe get some more safety tips about all the above?
Yes, of course. AmericanaTire.com is where you can go to get all kinds of tips and all kinds of information about your tires.
All right. Thank you, Amy Seaweed. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Okay, have a great one.
What happens when a working mom becomes the most powerful woman in her state and still can't get her family to listen? Tyler Perry's She the People is the Netflix comedy about a newly elected lieutenant governor juggling politics, a chaotic household, and a boss who still thinks it's the 1950s. So today we're joined by Terri J. Vaughn and JoMarie Payton, who brings the laughs and the family drama in this bold and funny new series. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Thank you. We are fantastic. That was the perfect description of our show. Thank you.
Thank you. For those that are just like hearing about the show, how would you describe She the People in your own words?
Oh my God. Well, you did that so well. Yes, Antoinette, my character Antoinette Dunkerson, becomes the first Black lieutenant governor in the great state of Mississippi. And we watch her navigate that path with a governor in place that does seem like he's stuck in the 1950s. That was perfect. Also, she's balancing that career path while at the same time juggling her home and family life with a very colorful family, a very nosy and bold speaking family. So navigating those and raising 2 teenage kids in the world of social media, co-parenting with an ex-husband, and dealing with a very, very nosy mom is set for fun. Set for fun.
But listen. We're proud of her now. I'm proud of her as a daughter, and they're happy about their mothers in their position. But we still want to do our thing. You know what I'm saying? I still want to go to the casino. I want to be with my friends. We'll go fishing. I'm retired. I want to have a good time. I don't want everybody all down my back asking her where your mama going now. Who is she with? Because I still like my boyfriends. And then her children, they still want to be with those phones and stuff and all. They don't want to tapping their phones with their conversations. Listen, we got business to take care of. We got
Listen.
stuff to do. But we're also not ignoring that we got issues in this world.
JoMarie, you play Cleo, Antoinette's mother, and she's got her opinions. So what do you love about playing her?
What I learned about playing
What do
her?
you love?
That is a lot like me, JoMarie. And everything, but she's more me. I love the fact that I love the fact we're on Netflix too. I have that kind of freedom to really be me, you know, and to deal with all these different things with family life and politics. And although she says, I don't like politics, she doesn't like the BS of politics, but yeah, she loved to get into the mix. Come on now. But so that's what I'm loving about this character. And I'm hoping that you love it too. So I can bring things to you to make you feel better about you, and that you wake up that next morning seeing you and feeling better about everything that life has to offer because you saw you and you made you better.
And the show touches on like real issues, like and also is extremely funny, keeping the laughs going. What is the balance between comedy and reality and bringing those together on set?
I think the funny is based in reality. Like all the storytelling is totally relatable topics, things that we are seeing, stories ripped from the headlines. So it is very grounded in reality, but we laugh. Like my favorite thing in the world to do is laugh. I believe that laughter is healing. Even in, just dramatic situations, sometimes you just got to step back and you just got to laugh at the ridiculousness that we are living in, that we have to navigate through. And so we wanted to create this show to be able to address real life issues that we are dealing with, but give it to you in a digestible way where you can laugh, but also you can think and maybe start some conversations around the issues and around the things that we present.
It's just like an example I can give you because I don't want to use it every time. And I'm real concerned about children not having breakfast in the morning, having food to eat when they go to school and all, because I'm one of 9 and we went through that. And also, but the funny in it for me would be if they did take the program out of school or whatever, like they have, son, that I say, something, I saw a little peepee and he was hungry. Tell that boy to stop by my house before we go to school so I can give him something to eat. And then I may start a protest. We don't know. The show has so many veins to it. Yeah. And because we have so many issues and so many things that we want to fix and make right and make you feel good that you helped us make it right. Until the funny is going to come out of that. That you might pass our house and see me outside with the barbecue grill, big one there, with pots on there, and I'm slinging grits. Say, come on here, boy, and get something to eat before you go to school or whatever. That brings us to the fact that it's important. Yeah, that's an important thing. It's important that teachers ain't got enough, because I see Sally and Walmart.
She gets all riled up,
Walmart,
right?
She ain't got what she needs. Girl, come over here, get some more paper. So when you get some more things, so you go to school. We have to address their health. I go to CVS. I'm gonna say it, and I gotta go pick up my medicine. Why I gotta pay for this? How about y'all want me to die, right? It's something funny about that, but it's real. That's real. That's real.
You got it?
I got you. All right, Terri, JoMarie, thanks for joining me this morning. Don't miss the Laugh Out Loud comedy that happens when politics and family pretty much go head-to-head under one roof. It's available now on Netflix. She the People. Check it out. Thank you, too, for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. We love you.
Thank you so much.
And that's it for Rise and Unwind TV. If you actually want to be on the show, go to our website, riseunwindtv.com, fill out the form, send it on in, and maybe you could be on a future episode. Also, go to our YouTube channel. That's Rise Unwind TV. And until next week, that was Rise and Unwind.